More greenways could be coming to Knox County. The county commission approved a study of 4 major corridors. Those include Northshore, Beaver Creek, Chapman Highway, and a portion of John Sevier Highway. Commissioners are working to connect all current greenways in Knox County and even further.
And tonight, Shannon Smith explains how this study is important for the next step.
Greenways are only getting more popular in and around Knox County. According to the county, about a third of people who live in Knox County regularly use greenways and parks.
Anytime that we can provide people, with the ability to travel pedestrian or other than a motor transit, it's a good thing.
There are more than 60 miles of paved and unpaved trails in the county already, but to keep up with the demand, Knox County is partnering with the firm Gresham Smith and Partners to look at where and how to add more.
It adds value for health, it adds value for safety, especially in that area, and it also just adds value to the community. There's a return on investment there that people see in their process of homes and things like that.
The study contract approved Monday will look at 4 areas of Knox County: Northshore, Beaver Creek on Emory Road, Chapman Highway, and John Sevier Highway. These areas are all missing links of sorts. If greenways were built, they could connect trails throughout the county.
There's talk of working with Anderson County and having a trail system all the way down to the Smokies, so it really becomes inter-county at that point.
But first, they have to connect the greenways that already exist in Farragut, Knoxville, and Knox County. Mayor Glenn Jacobs says it's an investment that can only help the county grow.
When companies are looking at us and say, hey, we want to go to Knox County, part of it is what is the quality of life that you have. And for many young people, providing those outdoor recreational opportunities is something that they're looking for.
And that was Shannon Smith with the story. The $300,000 study is funded mainly through a transportation grant, and no completion dates are known, but the study will require citizen input later on this year.
Well, coming up, crazy video after a high